Hey guys, Johnny Trucking here with a few tips on doing your pre-trip on the new generation Volvos, even some of the older ones. But there's two things. Usually, you know, it's easier in some of the other versions of trucks to check are all of the fluid levels. In this truck, it's a little bit different. The one that you can check pretty clearly easily is obviously the engine oil right there. Just take the dipstick out. The power steering, there's no way to physically see the level because it's all blacked out, right? And there's no dipstick. But what you can do is you can take the lid off like I did here. This right here, this is where the filter is at. It's spring loaded, so if you push down on it and twist it, the filter will come out, and you can immediately see how wet the filter is. If the filter looks wet all the way to the top, then you got enough power steering fluid. If it's dripping, then you know you have enough, you know you're still good on power steering. If all of this is dry, then you probably don't have any power steering and you need to get that checked. But that's one way to check. Another way to check is if you have your own kind of dipstick mechanism, you can just stick it right through the hole all the way to the bottom and then pull it out to see just kind of how much you have. So if you have just like a little metal dipstick or something, even just a wood one, if you want to use that, it's got to be long enough to reach the bottom of this. So, you know, maybe like longer than a popsicle stick kind of thing. You can dip it in there and you can kind of see. I would say metal, so that way you can clean it off every time. But as long as you take this filter off and it's nice and wet and moist all the way to the top, then you're fine. You don't have to worry about your power steering fluid being empty or low. I'll say, and then of course you put the lid back on. The other one that you might have a problem checking the level on is the windshield washer fluid. Unlike other vehicles, unlike other trucks, the windshield wiper reservoir is not anywhere over here. In fact, it goes all the way down into where the batteries are behind this casing. So if you really wanted to check it, you'd have to take this casing off, which can be taken off by taking off this and this right here to get to the batteries. But then you'd also have to physically take the batteries out to look behind it, because the reservoir is literally behind the batteries. So even if you take this cover off, you're still not going to be able to see the reservoir. You will be able to see the hosing, but you won't be able to see the reservoir. But the nice thing about these Volvos is that they come with the dash indicator. So on the dash in the truck, it'll tell you if it runs under a gallon, or if it hits under that gallon mark, it'll send you a notification in the truck that the windshield wiper fluid is low. So what you do is you just go and buy to yourself 2 gallons, and you pour it right in here like that. And the way that you'll know it's full is this is the overflow hose right here next to it. So if it gets full, you'll start seeing fluid come out of this hose right here. Once you see fluid coming out of this hose, it's hit the top of the tank and you're good to go. So as soon as you see this starting to overflow, then you can stop filling it because it's all the way at the top. But yeah, that's it. That's how you double check to make sure on those two different types of fluids on at least Volvos, because I know on other trucks the reservoirs are easy to look at, easy to check, but in these they're a little bit hidden, they're a little bit more involved to get to, but you can still check them to make sure that you got the right amount of fluids in your truck.